What are some street smarts everyone should know? I grew up in a pretty rough neighborhood in Chicago, and probably the best thing you should do when walking by yourself at night is pay attention to every car. Usually they'll drive past you and scope you out. If you look like a target, you'll see that car again, or they'll meet you farther down your path while you're walking past an alley. Always be ready for something when walking past an alley and stay close to the houses. That way, if anything's suspicious, you can run into a backyard. One, situational awareness would probably be the biggest thing I'd stress to people. These days everyone's so buried in their phones, they don't pay attention. 2, walk with a purpose. Act like you belong and you're 100% in charge of your crap. This combined with 1 will probably keep you out of trouble 99% of the time. 3, if you can, control the situation. Your gut instincts are often right, and when they're telling you to leave, you should. Sometimes people prevent that from happening, but as a general rule I try to control the situation by leaving. I'll try again and again. Is that stranger being overly nice to you? Are you on the sidewalk? Are you alone? The reason it feels like something is wrong is because something is wrong. The reason it feels like something is wrong is because something is wrong. This is a great quote. Thank you. When walking in an unfamiliar city or trail, look back regularly. It will help you to remember landmarks that will guide you back home. This is smart, and I never thought of it, but it makes sense. You can feel like you remember the way, but going home, you're seeing it in the opposite direction, and it can look vastly different. If you are in any sort of confrontation and someone balls their fist and looks away for a second, or even just looks away for a second, you should be prepared for the possibility of a sucker punch. I just posted something similar. Good advice as well. The look away is the tell. Be aware of your surroundings and trust your gut. Women should not be afraid to appear rude. The book Gift of Fear has lots of great info. As an admittedly somewhat scary looking guy, resting murderer face, I would never be offended if a woman, or anyone, walking in front of me had to do something rude to not be in front of me. Never do drugs in situations you don't know about. Could be someone spikes it, takes advantage by robbing, rape, kidnapping, whatever it is. Always be paying attention. Nobody approaches you on the street because they want to do something for you. It's always because they want something from you. This is the main one. My rule of thumb is always sternly say no, no matter what, especially if no one else is around. Always know where the exits are in any place that you enter so that you don't get lost in an emergency. Also, never place yourself in a hole in public where there is only one entrance and exit and no other people around. These are often crime hotspots. When we would, rarely, go out to eat as a family, my pops would only sit facing the door. I never thought anything of it until I was grown. Street smarts to give your kids. If you get lost, find the closest adult with kids. I saw this in action once at Disneyland when a 4-year-old kid approached me and my kiddos while we were eating. She joined us very calmly, introduced herself, and said her parents gave her the above advice. I heard her parents shouting her name not long after, and the relief on their faces was a sight. This is good advice. I told my nephews to go to the nearest person running cash register, in a store or at a cart. These people are not likely to move and can summon help. Also, it gives me a focus on where to look. If you're going to be away on holiday or somewhere you're unfamiliar with for any length of time, it's a good idea to try to always make sure that someone knows roughly where you're going to be and what you're going to be doing on a given day. Even if you're like me and you don't like to plan out a full itinerary, a rough indication of what your plans might be can help work out your movements if ever there is an issue. But don't post about being on holiday, even vacation photos, until you get back. No need to advertise you are gone and your home is possibly empty. Here are a few of street smarts that makes it harder for pickpockets to steal your stuff. Do not keep your wallet in the back pocket of your jeans. This is a super easy place for pickpocket to take it from. When in crowded touristy areas, it sometimes is better to wear your backpacks or purses to the front of your body. If you sit down in a restaurant, keep your backpack in front of your feet. Be especially aware of your belongings when there is a bit of pushing, like when entering a subway or metro wagon. Be alert in situations where a potential group of thieves try to distract you, for example by asking you for directions on a map. While you are distracted by showing the person the directions, another thief will open your bags and take your stuff without noticing. When traveling in Europe, I'm most comfortable keeping my phone and it in an interior pocket of my coat, which is zipped up. You might be correct when you have the right of way, but you're still the one that's going to be dead when you get whacked by the car if you're walking or on your bike. My friend's dad always said, the cemetery is full of people who had the right of way. Pay attention when you cross the street on foot. No matter who has the right of way, the vehicle will destroy you, lightly or heavily. Thanks. My dad had an expression about right of way in traffic. You might have right of way, but end up dead right. This reminds me of a comedian who was saying the best way to stay safe in a rough neighborhood is to fake a Russian accent cause Russians are terrifying. Reminds me of another skit, maybe Kevin Bridges, saying he always slept naked because in the case of a home invasion he couldn't think of anything scarier than a big naked Scottish man charging you down. Just because someone is friendly with you doesn't mean they have a good heart. One of the hardest lessons I've had to learn is that nice is different than good. From experience. 1. If you're alone on the street and you think you're being followed, immediately call someone. Forget about conversation starters and give away your location. You should add, I think I'm being followed. Speak loudly enough so the person you think is following you hears you doing it. If you're right and they were following you, that will be a big turn off. If you're wrong, you have nothing to lose. 2. It might sound harsh, but if anyone approaches you and asks to use your phone for anything, especially emergency related, don't fall for it. They will usually tell you what the emergency is, so walk away, tell them you don't have a phone, whatever, and for your inner peace call the emergency and give away that person's location. Tell them exactly what the person told you. Either they really needed help and you're sending it their way, or they tried to trick you into something horrible and will most likely try it again with the next passerby. 3. Whenever you are, plan ahead and blend in with the crowd. I mean, don't dress all fancy in the hood kind of thing. 4. Please, for the love of God, stop using your earphones while on the street. At least try to only have one earbud in if you can't help it. It is not healthy. Ear fatigue, potential risks to your hearing, etc. But at least it won't completely cover the background noises. Point number 4 is especially important. If you are a runner, you can't hear an attacker run up behind you or a vehicle approaching if your headphone or earbuds are in. Nature gave you your hearing for a reason. Be aware of surroundings. Look like you belong either through body language, attire, or occupation, without being oblivious to things around you. The moment you look lost, out of place, or unsure is the moment you can look like a good target. If someone is looking at you with an expression questioning why you are there, be prepared to answer it with confidence and give an answer they would accept, or be prepared to leave before they can ask. Also be 3 feet tall, muscular, have shaved head and long beard. If you're walking and someone approaches, don't break stride. You can carry on a conversation while walking, but people who are looking to proselytize, sell you something, or mug you will want you to slow or stop to address them. If they want to chat, make them keep up with you. You can even tell them that you're in a rush but would love to talk and walk. They'll likely find someone more stationary, because if you can make a person slow, you can make them stop. If you can make them stop, you've already adjusted their priorities and placed yourself at the top. It's a subtle power game. Keep going where you're going, and you retain your power. Stop and cat, and you've given it up and opened yourself to possible problems. This is the answer. You owe no one on the street anything. Muggers and criminals often work in groups or pairs with one person trying to distract you. If you're ever locked up and some of the guys are playing cards and you happen to see a card fell into one of their laps, don't try and be helpful and point out that they dropped a card. Also, don't make a deal that you can't pay up on. You've got nowhere to go. And be aware of any blind spots that cameras don't cover and try to avoid those areas. That is, unless you're trying to whack someone incognito. Never flash your whole wad of cash in a public place while paying for something. Keep a few bucks loose in one pocket for spending. Keep the majority of your cash in a separate pocket. Don't open a wallet full of all your money where other people can see you. My elderly customers always do this and it gives me hives. Like, Eileen, why do you have like 400 pounds in there? Put it the frick away. Walk around your car before you get into it. Keep your head up and be alert. Or at least look alert. FFS. Turn off your car and take the keys with you when you stop at a store or gas station. Always ask for only one scoop of ice cream first because they make single scoops bigger. Then act like you changed your mind and ask for a second scoop. They will be pressured to match the size of the first scoop, providing you with a massive amount of ice cream. This is the type of answer I was looking for. Thank you. For most people, just keeping your head on a swivel and being aware of what's around you would be a big help. Put your phone in your freaking pocket. Source: grew up in the hood. Also take your headphones earbuds off. Don't look or get stumbly drunk. Much less likely to have anyone mess with you if you look like you are aware of your surroundings and not distracted. Shut your freaking mouth. It doesn't matter how angry you are or what they said to you. Shut your freaking mouth and walk away. Bruised ego is better than shot dead. Yeah, I 100% agree. Seems like everyone has a gun nowadays and people are getting shot for stupid crap left and right. If you are walking alone at night and you feel like you're being watched, followed, start talking to yourself loudly about crazy crap. Make it a conversation even. OMG, did you see her dress? That dress was so crazy long. Like, how could she walk? Let alone walk in that grocery store. And those cheap plastic shoes. I own those cheap plastic shoes. Are you saying I'm cheap? If the cheap plastic shoe fits, honey, I'll admit to doing this. I used to work graveyard shifts and you gotta be aware. Most people, no matter how bad, try to avoid crazy. Crazy will hurt you back. Mayo, if the cheap plastic shoe fits, honey, I am dying. Don't tell even close friends the amount of money you have on you. I was set up by an 18-year-old female co-worker this week. She seemed like a sweetheart and was giving me rides to work for a few days. I asked on the Monday if we could go to bank as I needed to cash a check for roughly $4,500. Minutes after dropping me near house, I was robbed at gunpoint of everything by two guys. They knew how much they were looking for. The robber said he watched me leave bank, but the police saw on camera near home that they had been waiting for me for an hour. One of the robbers was her ex-current boyfriend, it turns out. Holy crap. Thanks for the advice. I never would have thought of this. If you hold yourself in an imposing way, you are less likely to be messed with. I get that not everyone is 6'6" and walks very upright, but a little bit of confidence in your walk can help. If you feel uncomfortable in a Metro Underground car, slip out as the doors are closing. For bonus security, travel back 1 to 3 stops, then resume your journey. Having been mugged once, I'm gonna make M work for it if there is a next time. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Stay safe. I moved to East St. Paul in a pretty bad neighborhood. My first day there, I walked to the liquor store, paid, and put my wallet back into my back pocket. The dude working the shop was like, you should put that in your front pocket on your coat. So I realized pretty quick how bad my neighborhood was. A good rule of thumb is just to trust your instincts. If people look like they want to be left alone, they probably do, and it's not your business why. Make it clear you don't give a frick what they are doing, and better yet, don't even notice them. They might be uninterested in bothering you and just trying to do their business. But once your eyes are on them, now you're a problem to them. You don't want to be a problem to them. This worked well when I also lived on 38th Chicago in South Minneapolis and would frequently walk to Cup Foods or Chicago Lake Liquors. There was a crew who would be posted on the corner that I avoided eye contact with, and everything worked out fine. This isn't only about survival in a sketchy neighborhood, but all relationships. Your instincts tell you a lot about situations. They exist for a reason. You don't need to question them or challenge them logically, with the exception of severe mental illness. If you feel like somebody's lying, they probably are. If you feel like someone likes you, they probably do. If you feel like an opportunity is good, it probably is. All this being said, being in a sketchy neighborhood isn't all about danger. There's lots of lovely people, and as an alcoholic, I'd frequently chat up my neighbors and shoot the crap when I was out and about. Just trust your instincts of their body language. Leave me alone versus friendly, and don't start talking unless you got something funny or interesting to say. LOL. This man knows crap he's talking about. Street guys don't read tips on Reddit, they use their instincts. Everyone respects true crazy. I once was approached in downtown by a man asking for all my money. I looked him square in the eyes and blurted out something like blah blah blah. He walked away and I kept my monies. I don't know why this made me laugh so much, LMAO. If you are forced to walk through a bad, dangerous neighborhood, keep your chin up and maintain a confident and comfortable look on your face. Nothing screams abuse me more than an out-of-place person waking around with their chin down, looking at the sidewalk. I learned this after visiting a new girlfriend many years ago in a bad section of Philly. I was walking down the street towards her house and a local female walking by me said, "Keep that chin up around here, white boy." The more I considered that advice, the more logical it sounded. That's one of those things that bruises your ego in the moment, then you appreciate it when you reminisce about it. In my fraternity I used to defuse a lot of fights. I'm a thin guy, 150 pounds 6, so my size isn't really an advantage. I found one of the best ways to defuse an angry drunk that you don't know is to ask them their name. Give them your name and bring them in for a handshake, hug, dap, whatever. Suddenly you're friends, and the drunk is confused why someone is being friendly to them, and likely used all of his mental facility to process that and has now forgotten why they were so mad in the first place. This buys time for someone stronger to come as backup, or the potential victim to escape. Has worked many times for me. If a stranger talks to you in public, and it's not immediately clear why they're talking to you, ignore them. Just keep minding your own business. Don't look at them, and don't say a word. Most hustles start as just a friendly chat. This should be higher up. Trust that the man literally climbing out of the bushes by the parking lot doesn't need you to tell him the time. He's just using politeness to get close enough. Do not unlock your car when halfway across the parking lot from it. Unlock it once you're close enough to see if anyone tries to get into it. If you're having trouble finding your car, you can't hit the lock button to get it to chirp without unlocking it. I do this even in unsketchy areas cause I tend to forget where I parked a lot. Look up and notice if street lights have been shot out or smashed. If so, avoid those areas at night. There's a reason they've been disabled. Same with missing street signs. Never post vacation information on social media until you're back. You'll most certainly get robbed at some point if you're not smart about it. Also, don't put expensive product boxes, TV, computer, appliances outside before trash day. People will see your new toys. Or alternatively start posting from vacation photos once you get back and prepare a Home Alone reenactment with whoever shows up. Eye contact. A lone assailant will often use the element of surprise to their advantage. If you're walking alone and someone is following you, make eye contact to let them know that you are aware of them. This will often dissuade them from attacking. This tactic has worked for me in the past. If you are in an area where there are storefronts, use the reflection in their window glass to see behind you as you walk. There may be people on the street that you pass, but if they make a sudden move on you, you can react. Do this all the time. I'm a fan of using reflective surfaces to keep an eye on my surroundings. Don't frick with that dude with cauliflower ears. He can take more and harder hits than you think. Get those stickers off your car identifying you as a female. Girls just wanna have foo neck. It makes you a target. If you live in an urban area with high transient population, regularly check locked gates and rare use access points. Look for things like small pieces of tape on locks. You are being target and tested for access to your home that you do not regularly use. Carry 2 wallets. One is a honeypot you hand over if getting robbed. The other is your real wallet. Pro tip. Put a little cash and expired credit cards in the honeypot. This will help it look more real. When walking on the sidewalk, if you think a car is following you, simply switch direction. Turn around and walk the other way. It's harder for a car to change direction quickly. They will either have to stop and reverse, or suddenly U-turn, which will give you time to run or change direction again. Never get in a stranger's car and never give them the chance to grab you. Don't get into a car with a stranger. I had a 24-year-old international student tell me he didn't know how to respond when a guy on the street asked for money. He said he didn't have any. It was at home. The guy said he'd drive him there to get it. Again, the student didn't know what to do, so he got in the guy's car. They drove to his apartment, where the student went inside and hid until the guy left. I know. For an American, this is completely unbelievable. My cat is more street smart. I wouldn't believe it if he hadn't told me himself. He was very late to class and clearly freaked out. There's a bit more to the story, and with each additional fact, my jaw dropped lower and lower. The kid was adorable and smart, hard-working student, but I kept thinking he should not be allowed outside on his own. Well, now you have to tell the rest of the story. Anyone who wants to talk to you for any reason in any major city is trying to get money, and know their pregnant cancer-riddled wife's broken down car does not just need $5 of gas, cash only PLZ. For the ladies in particular, have the taxi Uber driver drop you off a block or so from your house. Wait till they drive away to walk up. Don't expect other people to save you. Make sure you take precautions and don't just wait around if you need something done. Have things in your car that will help you in a dire situation. Know how to change your own tire. Sure is nice when someone will do it for you, but if we have learned anything in 2020 is that you might just be alone when crap hits the fan and you have to start trying things to get out of a tough situation. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.